Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 40k Badcast, episode 21. My name is Dan Boyd, and I'm joined, as always, by Kringle McGillicuddy. Kringle, how you doing?
I'm not feeling as festive as you think I'm feeling.
Oh, man, it is December, Campbell.
Yeah, it is officially December. This is our second time recording that last episode.
Right, and we're actually doing it on a Sunday morning, which I'm kind of excited about because I feel fresh. We usually record the show after work on weeknights, which is, we've both been, it's the end of the day, we've both been working all day, tired, but now it's the morning. I feel I have energy. I'm feeling good, man.
This is our first ham slam in the AM.
Like Campbell said, we're trying this again, had some technical difficulties with the first attempt at episode 21, but we're back. Let's just get into it, man. Let's talk about this Auspex, the what's on our hobby radar. I'm going to start. I finished my Primaris Reavers, which were a lot of fun to paint and really cool models, and they have a fuck ton of transfers that I had to put on, like 4 each, which which took a while. I got that Micro Sol. You ever use that?
That's incredible. Every single decal I do microsol or micro set on the area, then I put the transfer on, then I do microsol afterwards, then I matte varnish it, and that's how you get like that painted on look with transfers.
I just started using that stuff. I can't believe I didn't use it before. It's amazing.
Dude, welcome to the fold. That's why I put transfers on fucking everything, because they look really good when you start doing this stuff.
All right, so I started in on my Gravis Captain too, which I'm really excited to paint because I haven't painted a character in a little bit, and I love just painting one model.
It's refreshing. It's a little palette cleanser.
So he's going to have a lot of, well, I was going to say color, but not really. It's just going to be black and white, but a lot of white on him because he's a captain in the Raven Guard. So he gets full white helmet, white shoulder pads, white arms, and then his cloak is going to be white on the outside, red on the inside. So he might be a little bit of splash of color in an otherwise pretty dark army.
And that's pretty festive, so it's right to paint him right now.
Yeah, what you been working on?
I finished the squad of 10 Vespid Stingwings I'm doing for that Repulsor exchange commission thing. They came out okay, but I think the models are probably the ugliest models released from like that point onwards. Like, they're not pretty figures.
No, they're not.
I'm working through 20 Empire Spearmen for Age of Sigmar. They are almost done. I just have to do like grass tufts, red highlights, and they are good to go. And I need to paint their banner because I used them in a game this weekend, and it's not really great when you have a squad waving a white flag. It doesn't bode well for them. Didn't do them any favors. I painted up a Tech Marine that I converted up that I mentioned in the last episode. There was a character that was just fun to kind of do as a little palette cleanser, and also he was more or less a test scheme for when I do Blood Ravens, because I did the red armor the same way I plan on doing red armor for my Blood Ravens. Does make me wish Corn Red covered a little better, and I wish I could track down the old Corn Red spray that they made for like a month when Age of Sigmar launched, but
thin coats.
Multiple thin coats.
Thin coats. 2 thin coats. 2 thin coats.
2 coats will kill him. And then I also started working on the Arcane Ruin set, which is one of the worst scenery kits I've ever seen. Like, it went together in like 15 minutes. Like, it takes no time to build. And then I'm like, there's gaps on all of these that are all super noticeable. So I did a second layer of super glue around all the joins, thinking that would probably fill it, because that usually does enough. And it didn't. So then, like, I spray painted and I noticed they all still had these like really gross gaps. I'm like, okay, so I green stuff, gap filled on all of them, spray painted again, and it still looked like shit. So I had to sand that down, which meant there was like this really toxic like mix of green stuff, spray paint, and plastic that just smelled kind of like aerosol and gasoline. That was just
cool,
puffing out into my room. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend the one nice day this week and go outside and sand that down. But then I sprayed them down again. They still look kind of shitty. But I'm at the point where I'm washing them. It's really simple terrain, but I can use it for a lot of stuff.
That sounds like a whole lot of work for shitty terrain.
Yeah, I came really close to throwing it away like 3 or 4 times, but I'm sticking it out. They're almost done. It's just washing and dry brushing, because the idea was, I'm like, okay, I'll spray this like 3 colors, like a zenithal thing. Then I'll just wash it, dry brush it, and it's done. I did not expect to spend more time sanding and gap filling than actually painting these damn things.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I got the Citadel butt plug.
Oh, the pleasure pair?
Yeah. It's awesome. It's really fucking cool.
It seems cool, but I'm painting a batch of 20 spearmen right now, and I would not want to spend the time fiddling with that thing to pop a guy out and put another guy in there.
It takes like half a second, dude.
Yeah, but that's 10 seconds every batch I do. I don't have that kind of time, Dan.
I don't. It's fucking $8, and it keeps your hands off the fucking models. It's an amazing purchase. I would fully recommend anybody going out who paints a lot to go get one. It's a great stocking stuffer as well for Christmas. You play any games?
Oh, geez, yeah, I played a ton. I basically hadn't played for 2 weeks. Then over this weekend, I've played 5 games.
Holy smokes.
Thursday, I played against my local Dan and his Space Wolves. And like last time I played him,
local Dan.
He doesn't play guard anymore, though, so I don't have 2 guard playing Dans.
Okay.
But yeah, he's up to like 2,000 points of the Space Wolves, so we played an 1850 game. And after like turn 1, I just blow up his Land Raider and all his fire support and all his Fenrisian Wolves that are meant to tie up my shit. And the next turn is just his guys getting closer and me gunning them down. And he called it after turn 2, and it was not very fun, which is kind of unfortunate. Then I played a doubles game against my friends Ross and Kurt, and they brought Imperial Guard and Chaos. And the first 2 turns, everything was going my way. Like I was just deleting units left and right, just blowing away the heavy support choices. Every time they dropped something into my backfield, I would just sweep it up. And then after turn 3, my dice went like not just cold, but ice cold. As in I spent the next 5 turns missing and failing to wound with every single shot from my Storm Raven.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's like 2 las cannons, 2 missile launchers, 2 more missile launchers, just twos.
I bet that wasn't frustrating at all.
The in-universe explanation I figure is that the Storm Raven blew up all the guardsmen and their gore flew into his windshield and he couldn't see for the next 5 turns. And then yesterday I played 3 games of Age of Sigmar for a local event we called the War Slam. I took a fluffy list of Empire, state troops and a general and a cannon, a really simple little list. And it accidentally ended up being kind of broken. The first game I lost because it was against Wood Elves that could just redeploy around me and outmaneuver me. And the second and third game, I had this ability where, like,
wait a second. Ooh. This isn't the Age of Sigmar Badcast.
It's not the Age of Sigmar Badcast.
It's the 40k Badcast.
You're right. I won a couple games. I lost 1 game, and the games I won were total blowouts at the end.
The fuck out of here with that.
I won't talk anymore about my
battle
pajama
report
pals.
shit. Fuck out of here. Elves. Ugh.
Totally different from Eldar.
Yeah, super different. Hey, Eldari. So fuck you. All right, I played 1 game in the last couple of weeks against good old Mike Brandt, and I conceded on turn 2 again. Cool. Because he's a very tricksy opponent, and it wasn't like a bad game or anything. It was just like the writing was on the wall, and I was just like, I don't really want to play this thing out to completion because I'm not a masochist.
Yeah, that sounds like my game against local Dan and his Space Wolves.
Let's move on to some new stuff. And
you pick anything else up over the past week?
A little bit, yeah.
All right.
Well, right in front of me, I got the chapter-approved book, The New White Dwarf, Gang War, the Necromunda supplement. So, yeah, a lot of new stuff. Gang War is a really cool supplement. Goes into the campaign aspect of Necromunda. Makes me want to play Necromunda, but the models for me aren't out yet. I'm going to wait until the Orlocks come out. But fortunately, they're coming out soon because they put out some pictures on Warhammer Community, and they look fantastic.
Yeah, they look sweet. I'm kind of... All right, I love the Bebop and Rocksteady looking guy who's on the cover of Gang War 2.
Yeah.
With those like slitted sunglasses. But I'm kind of like, I have that wild hair being like, how can I convert these guys into a really expensive Imperial Guard regiment?
Yeah, right. I love their autoguns with the circular drum magazines.
Yeah, and the
Looks
big
like
street sweeper shotguns.
Carrying around Tommy guns and shit. But they basically look like factory workers crossed with heavy metal bikers with their sweet leather jackets. And I'm definitely going to paint some red shirts on them and have myself a socialist Necromunda gang. They also released a few more things for, or I should say teased a few more things for Necromunda with the Underhive Scum models that are available on Forge World. Very cool resin models.
Yeah, they have that kind of John Blanchy flavor of like the weird shit that lives in the margins. I love the look of all 3 of them.
Yeah, really, really cool. And they released a bunch of easy to build shit for Primaris Space Marines and Death Guard.
Because you weren't tired of them yet.
Yeah, right. Fucking Death Guard, man. Death Guard's good. They're really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Like playing against them. They're hard to beat. You just don't fucking kill anything. It's terrible. But you get the Mephitic Blight Hauler, which is a some sort of vehicle, I guess, or monster. I don't know.
It's a little tank thing. It looks like something from Metal Slug.
Yeah, it's pretty static miniature, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's a vehicle. It doesn't need to be that dynamic.
They Lord Felcher or whatever, and the Blight Lord Terminators. Some new
Lord Felcher,
whatever the fuck his name. I don't know. He comes with 3 more Blight Lord Terminators, all easy to build. Pretty cool sculpts, I thought.
I think I'm not a huge fan of those Terminators because like they've got the 8th ed like aesthetics and over detail, but their posing is very second edition. Like the posing on them actually looks kind of like the posing on the old Necromunda box set where they had like one arm holding a knife out to the side and like one gun arm that could go up and down, and that's all they have for dynamic posing. And yeah, that's kind of what they look like to me.
Yeah, well, speaking of bad posing, they also did a easy to build Redemptor Dreadnought that looks like it's just standing there. Like, hey guys.
It looks better than the Contemptor plastic kit.
I don't think so. I think it looks the same as the Contemptor plastic kit.
It looks bigger than the Contemptor plastic kit.
It's just fucking whatever. I don't.
It's kind of static,
yeah. It's easy to build, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then they did the easy to build aggressors too with the Flamestorm cannons, which both the Redemptor and the aggressors are like the worst loadouts.
Yeah, I don't really know why they went that way. I guess so people are more inclined to buy the box set to do the better loadouts. Because it's a shame because I love the Firebat, idea behind the aggressors with the flamers, but they just have so much less firepower.
I'm looking at this Blight Hauler, man. I'm looking at this thing. It's fucking radical, actually.
It's cool.
It's got like a spider face thing happening, a mouth vagina. Like there's like gross fat parts to it. Like it's rad.
You can't go wrong with the mouth vagina.
It's got a spider mouth vagina.
Just ask Ian Watson.
So those are some pretty cool additions that you can add. They also dropped a couple of lieutenants for Bangles and Dangles, or Blood Angels and Dark Angels, which are good, really. I think they have... I've always loved the aesthetic of the Blood Angels. I'm not a big Dark Angels guy because I don't care about knights in space, but the Blood Angels as sort of the Renaissance classical Space Marines, I've kind of always dug them.
I like that both lieutenants are pretty understated minis. Like, they're clearly Dark Angel and Blood Angel, which is cool, although the Dark Angel guy looks smart. He looks so smug. But the sculpts are pretty good, and I like that they're not, like, over the top. There's no nipples. There's no dangling extra shit. There's no, like, braziers on top of their backpacks. They're very understated, and I kind of feel like the entire Primaris line was kind of reining in a lot of that overwrought, too much detail shit you got from the regular 40k kits. Because, like, the Blood Angel Death Company kit is insane. Like, every guy has like 13 blood vials and 45 blood drops on them and a bunch of wings just sticking out of everywhere you can stick a wing. And these guys are really simple and straightforward, and I like them. Yeah,
it's the opposite of what they're doing with Death Guard.
Yeah, it kind of makes them stand out more. It's a better contrast, and by redefining the Space Marine silhouette without junking it up with too much stuff, you kind of get to start from a clean baseline. That being said, they are the new Blood Angels dice coming out, and I think those look awful.
Oh, yeah, you can't even fucking read them.
Yeah, the color, it's cool. They're in, like, red, gold, and black. Like, it's cool to do that, because that's neat, and it's cool they got the Blood Angel symbol on the 6s. The problem is the blood drops are all hard to read, and then you have a skull on the 1, and having 2 symbols on dice is never good. That's just confusing, because every time you see it, you go, which one is that?
Every time I see any symbols on 1s or 6s, I always fucks me up. Maybe it's just because I'm an idiot, but I prefer dice with no symbols whatsoever. Blood Angels are getting a codex, though.
Yeah, they are.
And it looks like
it's good.
Might be a very good codex also.
For like the first time since 5th edition.
Their chapter trait is that they get +1 to wound whenever they charge, get charged, or do a heroic intervention. So Blood Angels are wounding on 4s when they charge vehicles, which is pretty nasty with the amount of attacks like a Death Company can put out. But you start putting power axes or even or power fists or power swords, whatever. You've got very nasty potential in that in that list for close combat.
Yeah, you also have like Dreadnoughts wounding Titans on 2s.
Oh my god!
Because it's like, yeah, if a Titan is less than toughness 16 or whatever a Dreadnought strength is, then you're going to be wounding them on 2s. It's ridiculous.
And they're coming back also with the old librarian dreadnoughts with Blood Angels. And
that can fly like 24 inches.
You can fly.
Fucking
It's a
Xenos.
psychic power that it can fucking fly. So it can move like 27 inches in a turn.
It can just fly 27 inches and hit the side of a Thunderhawk like a cruise missile.
Yeah, so it's going to be, it's fucking scary because it's going to be in your face immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think they're always, the Blood Angels have always thought are very cool, flavorful Space Marines in the fact that they sort of focus almost completely on melee and combat.
Totally unlike Space Wolves or Black Templars.
Right. but they actually do it. That is the list that like for the longest time in like 5th edition, man, Space Wolves were a shooting army, a very good shooting army.
Yeah, which is silly.
And Black Templar have never been good. I don't know.
They've never been good. They're still not good. I love them so much, but I found the best way to play Black Templars is not to play as Black Templars. Is to paint your last cannons black and just be good.
I remember, man, what was that 4th edition? They had a rule where if you shot them, it would move towards the thing that shot them.
Yeah, so you could just kite them forever.
Yeah, just run them around the battlefield. They couldn't fucking do anything.
They've always been first in style, last in rules. I'm like, oh boy, I sure look forward to rerolling my charge distance with my Devastator squad. This is useful.
Well, the Blood Angels players out there, of which there are many,
they're popular.
Should be happy about this one. They released the Astraeus. You can buy it on Forge World, and I really fucking want one.
Yeah,
I think it looks cool as shit, and I want one and paint it black with Raven Guard shit on it.
I think it's very G.I. Joe in a very good way, and I would not look forward to edge highlighting that.
It would take me probably a month.
You'd probably need to like be like, okay, I need to enlist like 3 or 4 friends to each to edge highlight one side of this thing. And
I'd do all the turrets first, and that'd go quickly, and I'd be like, all right, I'm making fucking progress, and then I'd be fucking putting one layer of edge highlighting on the fucking body of that thing, and it would take me literally a month.
Yeah, no, it looks great. I know a lot of people don't like it. I think it looks cool. I just don't have the space for it.
I love the super giant autocannons on the top that act like a fucking turbocharged battle cannon.
Yeah, it's like on each turn it can potentially like blow up 2 Land Raiders or something crazy like that. I don't even remember.
It'll fucking nail Storm Ravens too, because it doesn't get you don't get the -1 to hit against it when it's firing its big ass autocannons. So fuck yeah, Storm Raven, motherfucker.
I mean, my Storm Raven clearly doesn't need the help sucking ass since it spent 5 turns missing every shot in 3s.
Before we get into chapter approved, man, we do have to mention one very important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sly Marbo is back, baby.
God, that model looks awesome.
He's back, the one-man army.
All right, how do you feel the fact that his gun is literally Snake Plissken's gun from Escape from New York?
I fucking love it. I love that model.
It's so good.
You get a poster when you buy him too.
So you can put it over your bed.
Oh man, I gotta check that out, dude. I love Sly Marbo. I'm definitely gonna pick him up.
I love that there's a scope on the suppressor for his machine pistol.
Yes. Peter must be happy.
Dude,
Our friend Peter.
Yeah, he's pretty stoked.
Awesome, man. I'm gonna pick that one up. But let's get into chapter approved a little bit. Very happy with the idea behind chapter approved.
Yeah.
And Games Workshop is updating its rules. It's been 6 months since 8th edition came out in June, right?
Probably about that, yeah.
And they are releasing or have released now an update to the 8th edition rules, which, they've been doing that through frequently asked questions and erratas and stuff on the website. But this is the first supplement to 40K with new missions, new faction rules for armies that don't have codices or codices yet, and a bunch of points corrections that are in the back of the book. The merit of the concept is extremely good.
Yeah, they did it back in the day, like 2003, 2004. Like there were a bunch of yearly chapter proof books, and they usually had some alternate rules, some errata FAQs. And I think it's cool that everyone can operate from the same book, because you don't have to be like, hey, you didn't track down version 1.35 of the Space Marines FAQ on blacklibrary.com/download/Space Marines/ version 1.432 or whatever. You can just be like, oh yeah, there's a book, has the things in it, you're good.
So they added stuff for all 3 levels of the game: open play, narrative play, match play. They added Apocalypse Gaming for open play, and they added Build Your Own Land Raiders.
That just seems like the one like outlier here. It's like, okay, some simple balance changes. All right, some more missions. All right, and make your own tanks. Just have that.
It's not as open as it originally purported to be. It's pretty.
Aw.
It's customizable Land Raider loadouts.
You can't put Infinity Lasguns on it anymore.
You cannot put 150 lasguns on a Land Raider, which is what I want to do. But you can put a fuck ton of Hurricane Bolters.
How many's a fuck ton? I'm interested.
I think 4. I think you can do 4 Hurricane Bolters per. But you could definitely do. They give you they give examples in here.
Yeah.
Of course, the Terminus Ultra, which is the 3 twin las cannons and then just 2 more las cannons, because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
It has no transport capacity.
No, because it's full of batteries.
But the one they have for Dark Angels, and it's specifically for Dark Angels, is called the Solemnus Aggressor, and it has. I guess it doesn't have 4 Hurricane Bolters. It has Hurricane Bolters, Heavy Bolters, and a assault cannon, double assault cannon. So it's just a bullet storm.
I'm kind of torn about them calling it the anything aggressor, because you're starting to like run out of words and you're starting to like cross-pollinate and take from other things. It's going to get really confusing. Like, my aggressors are shooting at your solemn aggressor. That's a very aggressive move.
Very aggressive. So, and all these data sheets have this open play stamp on them. Mm-hmm. So, which is basically saying, don't use these in actual matched games.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like, because they are pretty silly. They are cool. Though I'm like, Land Raiders are expensive.
Yeah.
Like, money-wise. And is anybody going to go out there and just be like, I'm going to drop $100 on a fucking Land Raider, customize it, and then I can't use it if I want to go to a tournament or something?
The other thing is also, like, these feel very much like rules that won't last forever. Like, that's a gut feeling. That is not, and I have no insider information here or anything like that. I just feel like reading those, I'm just kind of like, I have a gut feeling these rules are not going to be around forever. And like, when 9th edition comes out or whatever, it'll be invalidated. But then again, with how customizable you can make them, from what I gather, you might as well just magnetize the guns on the sides. And if that third set of Hurricane Bolters doesn't fit on the tank anymore, then whatever. You still have a loadout that's legal. That's just my... So if you're doing this, my recommendation is make sure you have a legal loadout too, so you don't waste your tank.
Yeah. So for narrative play, they added Planetary Assault, or Planet Strike rather, and Stronghold Assault missions and stratagems, which...
Cool.
Seem really fucking cool, and also like new deployments and everything. And if I had a fuck ton of terrain that I could do for all this stuff, I would definitely get into the narrative side, or I can go to a game store and get some of their terrain and build some more interesting maps and run some Planet Strike and Stronghold Assault games. It seems like a lot of fun. It's like another like fucking like 12 missions there, and then in match play, they add a whole 12 missions.
Whoa.
Yeah, they have 6 Eternal War missions, no Maelstrom cards, and then 6 Maelstrom missions.
That's super cool.
I have not yet been able to play any of them, but I'm really looking forward to it, because the missions in the book aren't bad.
No, they're not. They're the best selection of missions that's ever been in a rulebook, as far as I gather.
And now they're giving us another 12. So
cool.
I'm very excited about that. I can't wait to give them a shot. And then they add... they have a whole section on objective markers and making them, which is pretty cool. But they add all these faction rules for stuff that doesn't have codices, and it gives them relics and special stratagems and a little more flavor than the index gives.
It's a nice Band-Aid.
So if you don't have a army that has a codex, or it isn't getting a codex in the next month or so, then it's a good little supplement for you. I definitely think you should pick it up. But most importantly, they change up some rules for some of the terrain.
Oh, that's important.
So, some of the new terrain
kind of bare.
Yeah. And I haven't fully read through all of those, but they give you some stratagems for like different battle zones, empiric storms and industrial worlds, and some tables for crazy shit that can happen. One of them, my favorite, in the empiric storm one, is if you roll a 65 on the table, both players roll off, and whoever wins adds 1 unit of the following to their army and sets it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches from enemy models: 10 bloodletters, 10 pink horrors, 10 plague bearers, or 10 demonettes.
Yay!
Free demons.
That's silly. That's silly.
Yeah, that's fun. And then they did a bunch of updated points values, which are good and bad. Good because a bunch of Space Marine stuff gets cheaper. Bad because a bunch of my Astro Militarum stuff got more expensive.
Now let's spend the next half hour going over each unit and how its points have changed.
Well, I was talking with JD, our friend JD, and he had some gripes about Chapter Approved, and a lot of them were Space Marine specific. And I'm sure that there are mistakes in Chapter Approved, like points wise.
In a GW publication, perish the thought.
I would imagine that the Fire Raptor base cost of 190 points is going to get fixed to something else. Don't know what, but I'm sure it's going to go back up in cost. There's going to be mistakes here. I don't want to gripe too much about them. It might shift the meta overall. I know that a few of my things that I use a lot got points increases, which is, whatever. It's not going to... It's a 10-point increase for like mana cores and shit. Like they deserve it. They're extremely good. They need to cost more. But I don't want to get into too much like the, minutia of all this stuff. But JD and I we shared a couple of gripes about this. When you have errors, printing errors in these books or editing errors or whatever, it can totally fuck up the hobby for somebody. Let's say you look at a Fire Raptor for 190 points and you're like, fuck, that's super cheap for something that's really good. I'm going to go out and buy a few. And then a week later, it gets fixed to a different points number. Let's just say 290 for argument's sake. They fucked up a 1 and a 2. Where the fuck are you now? The Fire Raptor is an expensive fucking kit. You're not just going to go out there and be like, fuck it, I'm going to throw it away. I don't care about it now. Games Workshop needs to move to all digital rule set.
So here's the problem is I love like the feel of a book, and like I don't have a tablet and I hate using my phone for really anything. So it's like if I could have a book that live updates, I would, but that doesn't exist.
It does exist in fucking digital rule sets. Listen, I like looking at a book as much as you do. I like having it in front of me because I'm a visual person, and it makes it a lot easier for me to construct an army when I have the shit in front of me. But you're asking me to carry around the rule book, chapter approved, and whatever army books. And sometimes, because I fucking play Imperials, aka Imperial Soup, I've got the fucking Astro Militarum Codex, the Space Marine Codex, one of the indexes, and the rule book. Yeah, I'm bringing around, and now I'm bringing around chapter approved too.
Yeah, you have to have a baggage train wherever you go. Although on the bright side, we haven't had campaign supplements yet, which are going to be coming out, I'm pretty sure, and that's going to add another book to the whole stack.
Let's just make it fucking digital. Like if you're having updates, if you're having to do all these erratas in FAQs and everything, anyways, just fucking and Games Workshop could charge a subscription for that.
They do for Age of Sigmar.
If you want digital rules, like I'll fucking $5 a month, $10 a month. It's worth it to me.
Yeah, I mean, Age of Sigmar has like a you can spend like $1 a month or something like that. It's really cheap. Basically, you get access to all the points values and use like their army builder, and all those like points values and war scrolls update when they update. It's a good system. I would
love that.
It'll be in 40k eventually. That being said, what is your favorite typo? Because I've got two from 5th edition that I really like, which was where Fabius Bile was named Fabius Bike. And where the range of a Dark Lance was Jet Bike.
Oh, what does that even mean?
I guess you'd have to take out a jet bike, like a Reaver jet bike, and just put it in front of the Dark Lance and measure that far. I don't think jet bike is like a recognized imperial measurement. Maybe it's a System International one that I'm not familiar with, but believe it or not, they changed it when Dark Elder got an actual codex.
Well, I think with chapter approved, I think it's a good idea. But I think Games Workshop needs to modernize their rules delivery system, because I don't want to. I already play fucking Imperial Guard, so every time I go play a fucking 2,000 point game, I've got at least 3 KR cases, a case of just infantry, a case of my fucking myriad of playing aids, like objective markers, tape measurer, templates, not anymore, I guess, but still,
peace,
it's a whole bag of that shit. And then I have to add on top of that another 4 or 5 books too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little much.
Yeah, but think on the bright side. Every KR case you have has storage for more books.
It's true. They certainly do.
More cases, more books.
Well, let's move on. I just want to finish by saying, like, Chapter Approved is a good idea.
Yeah.
It's great that they're adding things to the hobby. It's great that they're adding missions. They're doing a good job with this stuff. I think it's a missed opportunity, though, to really modernize the way they deliver rules to us. And I'd like to see them change that in the future.
That being said, they did put out like a big old player survey.
The players survey.
It's really cool.
I took it. It took me only about 10, 15 minutes to do. I wonder how many people are fucking making bots to
They just put in a bot that fills in every one of the fill in yourself lines with plastic sisters when.
Did you see a bunch of fucking neckbeards were super upset about the gender question on there?
Because it's like, choose your gender, male, female, non-binary, write in your own, which is like, all right, cool. There's a little concession for whoever you are. And a lot of people are like, there's fucking far left companies that make toy soldiers, notoriously leftist Games Workshop.
Oh my God, dude.
It's not worth getting mad about.
A bunch of fucking assholes. I mean, it's fun to see shitty people get mad about stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But God, just shut the fuck up.
You have better things. You have better things to do, even concerning this hobby about plastic toy spacemen. Like, you have better things to worry about.
Yeah, fuck them. Adepticon registration opened up.
Yeah, it did.
I got to go on a little bit of a rant here because Adepticon registration was opened up on November 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern time. November 17th is a Friday. 9 p.m. is nighttime. It's a Friday night. I had a show. My band, Accidents, had a show. Oh, and if you're curious, the music that we play at the beginning and the end of every Badcast is my band, Accidents. If you're in the DC area, come see us play. We had a show, and I was like, guys, I'm really fucking sorry. I have to be a giant nerd and get tickets to this event because all my shit's going to sell out, which I was smart to do because most of the shit did sell out.
In minutes.
I was late to the show. I showed up at the show in the middle of the first song.
Nice.
We were playing last and everything because I had to. The show is in DC, which is not a far drive for me because I live in Old Town Alexandria. It usually takes about 15 minutes for me to get there, but there was no fucking parking because it's a Friday night in downtown DC. So I had to end up parking illegally. I didn't get a ticket because I was like, I parked illegally, ran to the show, played the show, ran the fuck back, and was back quick enough not to get a ticket. But Adepticon, guys, don't fucking open up ticket sales on a Friday night. I know that it was like 8 o'clock, fucking
Chicago
time, and I know that you're trying. It's a lot of people from the West Coast come to this thing, so you don't want to do it in the morning because it's going to be way too early for them. I get that. I fucking get it, man. I know that you want to have everybody from across the country come to this thing, but you got to be fucking kidding me with this Friday night bullshit. Do it on fucking Thursday night. Do it on fucking Wednesday night. Don't do it on fucking Friday night.
Do you think maybe they do it Friday night at 9 p.m., hoping that maybe not quite as many people flood the server at the same time?
That's another thing. They got to figure out something better for that because it took like 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, but it took a long time every time I would update the search bar for shit that I wanted. And I was like worried that my, shit was going to get all sold out before I could get to it because their fucking registration process took too long.
Well, I think Craig Sniffen was saying that he had by the time he had started and signed up for events and gone to checkout, some of the events had sold out because everything takes so long and everything's being flooded so fast.
Yeah, it sucks. Well, I signed up for a couple of things. I'm going on Wednesday through Sunday for the whole thing. Wednesday, going to the GW preview event, which, oh boy, we talked about this at the Nova wrap-up, but man, those things, they get pretty far into the weeds during Q&A time.
The half hour where GW talks about stuff is usually pretty interesting. The half hour people ask questions is fucking terrible. I'm a firm believer that panels should not have questions.
Never.
Ever.
Never. So if you're listening and you're going to go to the GW preview event, do us all a fucking favor and shut the fuck up during Q&A time, and just let them like let us go play Shadespire or Necromunda or whatever the fuck they're going to preview for us.
And if you do have to ask a question, don't try to make a joke or be like, I have one question. The first part is X, the second part is Y, and the 15th part is Z.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking for a while.
Fuck you.
So what army are you bringing?
I am going to try to bring my Raven Guard. I'm going to try to finish them to do the Gentleman's Tournament on Thursday, which I'm very excited about because we had so much fun last year.
Yep.
It's 100 power level this time.
That's fun.
I have no idea how to build a power level army, but
I'm sure somebody's gonna do a 100 power level army where every single unit is like maxed out and all that shit because they're an average points value. So a Devastator squad with 4 bolters is the same as a Devastator squad with 4 las cannons. So whatever. But I think you'll probably do fine. Power level lists are so easy to build there because you can just hash them out in like a minute and a half.
Yeah. Then I'm also doing the 40k friendly, which I think is going to be a lot more friendly than it was last year because it's 1,500 points limited to 1 detachment.
That's good. Are they reviewing lists at all for it?
I don't think they're reviewing lists, but they're not like you can't have a Supreme Command detachment or super heavy auxiliary detachment or auxiliary detachment. They're only the base detachments, battalion, brigade, vanguard, outrider, spearhead, and super heavy. So
nice.
You're not like, I think the list building for this one is going to be pretty soft.
Cool.
In that way, because if you do spam like, I don't know, like Predators or Lehman Russes or something, you're going to run out of points and you're not going to have a lot of command points to throw around, which can, as everybody knows nowadays, can be game changers.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Then I'm going to play some Blood Bowl on Saturday and Sunday because I hate myself.
I hope Blood Bowl is just in a little less depressing area this year because last year it was just in like, it's like, oh, this is the sad single dad lounge where it's a bunch of like lonely old guys sitting in a room playing with like 20-something-year-old figures, largely on boards from 20-something years ago, and only some of them had like the neoprene mats, and it was like a dim room full of sad, lonely people, and at the far end of the hotel.
Yep, can't wait. Can't wait for that kind of fun.
It's like walking in there is just like it's like it's to keep it festive. It's like when Ebenezer Scrooge is taken to see his future, and it's just a gravestone. And that is the Blood Bowl room. That's what I think there. I'm like, okay, I should not get into this game.
Like, meanwhile, you go downstairs to like the fucking 40k team tournament, and it's like the I guess Christmas past or whatever, or where it's like everybody's partying and having a good time.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
Christmas
like,
present.
Fuck.
And there's like, oh, this is so fun because we're not hanging out with the Blood Bowl guys. Now, nobody hit me because I'm wearing assless chaps because I saw that last year.
Listen, man. All chaps are assless. We don't have to say assless chaps anymore. If they have fucking asses, they're pants.
And this
they're
is
not
our new
chaps
segment,
anymore.
Dan's Pants Corner. Please tell us, Dan, what do you have to say about inseams?
Just don't call them fucking assless chaps. They're already, it's redundant.
I'm not a cowboy. I don't wear chaps.
It's like saying fucking ATM machine. You don't fucking need the machine on the end of ATM because it's already in the fucking word.
What about an automatic ATM?
An automated teller machine?
Yeah, it does this transactions for you. You don't even have to put in your credit card.
It's redundant. It's slightly less redundant, but still redundant. Campbell, we have bad news though, and it's you're not going to be coming to Adepticon this year.
No, unfortunately, I have glass bones and paper skin, and I keep hurting myself. And as anyone who's been listening for a while will know, those bills are kind of racked up, and I can't really make it this year. I can't swing it financially. That being said, I will be at Nova. Like that's if I can go to one of these 2 events, it's gonna be Nova because like Adepticon was a load of fun last year, but I unfortunately can't make it this time around.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss hanging out with you, man.
Dude, I'm gonna miss it too. Like
it won't be the same.
Getting to like hang out with you and Carl and JD and all the other folks we met there or who we already knew who we get to see again there is so much fun, but I just can't swing it this year.
You know, I've been working out a lot lately.
Yeah?
You know why?
Why?
So when I see JD at Adepticon, he'll be like, "Ooh, damn, looking good these days."
You're so buff. Can you bench press me?
Ooh, I will. I'm gonna. All right, we got a new segment, Campbell. Why don't you introduce it?
We teased this last time when we were going over the worst ideas we ever had, and this one was actually not wholly terrible.
No,
It's
it's
a
a good
segment where we answer questions from the community, not necessarily from WarhammerCommunity.com or anything like that, but just questions from forums or, in some instances, Yahoo Answers, where people are asking questions about Warhammer. At first, it was just going to be rules questions, but I expanded it into just questions in general about Warhammer. And we are going to make the call. So this is a segment called We Make the Call. First question. Theists, when you play Warhammer 40k Dawn of War, do you take in-game religion seriously? I love, for example, playing as Sisters of Battle, the crazy Battle Nuns faction, and think it's sort of epic to see them machine gun down or burn heretics. I'm an atheist, if you need to know. Theists, do you get bothered by the in-game religion? Does it please you somehow that the whole race is obsessed with it, or do you see it just like any non-theist would, as just a story/theme candy?
Well, we all know that the Imperial cult is real and exists, and we pray to the Emperor every single day, or else the Commissars would kill us.
Blessing be upon him.
Yeah, that's a dumb question. Do you guys take this fake religion seriously? Is this a thing? Are you religious people, like religious in game too? Is that how that works? Do you transfer your belief in whatever to belief in the Emperor when you play Dawn of War? I'm the fuck on.
It's like, if I spin around fast enough like Wonder Woman, will I turn into Wonder Woman?
Is this thing that's totally not real real?
And if it isn't real, do you take it seriously?
Are all you religious people really fucking stupid? Get the fuck out of here, man.
I also like referring to them just as theists.
All right, next one. Give it to me.
Warhammer Space Marine? My mate has just got a little box of Space Marines. I played the game years ago with Crusaders. It was brill, but was wanting to get my own set of Space Marines like a mate, but haven't got a clue about where and what I want to build them and paint them, and was wondering how much the full set is to buy and where I can get the full set. And if it's not possible, what should I buy? I have no experience in the game, so I have no idea. Any info would be great.
Wow, it's like none of that info is available online.
Yeah, it's like
Also,
you can't
what's
just
brill?
Google it. Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
I think that's like Chav slang from 2008.
Okay. Brill. Yeah, none of that information is available on the internet at all. So, great job, fella.
Yep. And
though I guess he is asking the internet in that.
Yeah, no, he is asking, but the thing is, it would take less characters to ask the internet that by typing it into a Google search bar.
It really would. All right, one more.
I started Warhammer 40k. I play Imperial Guard. Any help?
No, fuck you.
Like, do you feel like this is maybe just like a general cry for help? Like he's in a hole somewhere, and the only way he'd get this question out there was to ask Canadian Yahoo Answers on the gaming board. Any help? Also, I play Imperial Guard. I'm one of you. Please help me.
Oh, man. Last edition, everybody would have jumped to help. Like, oh, sorry, man. You play Imperial Guard? That sucks. Nowadays, in 8th edition, you play Imperial Guard? You're a piece of shit. Fuck out of here. You're a front runner. Get out of here.
Welcome back to 5th edition.
Last week, an interesting IRL thing happened where a
vanilla wafer got voted sexiest man alive.
Country singing sack of suet, Blake Shelton, got voted sexiest man alive by People magazine. And we didn't like that around here at the Badcast for 3 reasons. 1, country music sucks. 2, Blake Shelton is terrible. And 3, come the fuck on. It's Blake Shelton. He sucks. So we thought we could do better. But it being the 40k Badcast, we can't just name sexy IRL people. We need to figure out who the sexiest man alive is in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Now, Campbell, the way we're going to do this is we each have picked 3 candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to announce them and talk about them and tell our reasons why. Mm-hmm. And then we are going to pick amongst the other person's candidates for the finalists. And then we're going to have everybody vote, our listeners vote on who is the sexiest man alive in the 41st millennium. And we'll get to the details on how to vote at the end of this segment. But Campbell, why don't you go first and tell me, who is your first candidate for sexiest man alive?
Now, mind you, this is sexiest man alive. So, yeah, if you're a big fan of Ferris Manus, I'm sorry you're out of this one.
He's not alive.
Nope. So my first candidate for Sexiest Man Alive 40K is Caiaphas Cain.
Ooh, yeah.
He shies away from the spotlight, so he likes playing coy, and hard to get is appealing. He's also fairly humble about his achievements, and he doesn't want to brag too much about them. He's also got great sideburns and a sense of humor. And last but not least, the man enjoys tea, and that is a level of refinement you will not find often in the 41st millennium.
So he's refined, cultured, and heroic.
Yeah, what's not to like?
That's excellent. My first one is Commander Dante of the Blood Angels. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. He might be a little old. He's a snowbird. Isn't that what you call them? Snowbirds? I don't know.
He's well past Gray Fox.
Yeah, he's a little old. He's probably like 1,100 years old. Whatever, it's cool.
Adamantium Fox.
But he's got that experience, you know? He's been around the block a couple of times. He knows how to make it happen. And also, come on, he's got amazing sense of style. With that Baroque gold armor and the death mask of Sanguinius. Come the fuck on. That guy looks great.
Yeah, he's definitely a man of subtle fashion.
Very subtle.
All right, my second candidate is Magnus the Red. So, you've seen him.
No, he sucks so bad, though.
He's ripped. Like, he clearly works on his upper body. Yeah. He doesn't skip arm day, leg day, wing day, or horn day.
Or claw day.
Or claw day. He's educated. The guy... He's always breeding.
He's very
never
well
putting
read,
down the books, even if they're heretical tomes that damn humanity for the future. And if you like them tall, he's your tall boy.
You know how much I like a tall boy.
And finally, to go deep into Badcast canon, the guy loves anime. So clearly,
he does.
I have something in common with him.
For you,
it's perfect for me.
I'm going to go with my second pick as Stonetooth Harker.
Ooh.
Because he is one of the toughest men alive. And he's just like Magnus, he's big and strong and buff. But he gets out there, man, he fucking chews up nails and craps hammers.
That's not the expression, but okay.
He carries around his fucking heavy bolter like it's fucking nothing, even though like any Space Marine can do that. But
no, with him, he doesn't even get a penalty to shoot.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. It's an assault weapon for him.
Damn.
He can run and shoot that thing.
Fuck yeah, he can. Yeah, he's just big and strong. He's got big biceps. I'm into that, man.
Dude, if he can carry that gun, he can carry you over the threshold.
He certainly fucking can.
My third and final candidate is Sly Marbo. He's fit. He's mysterious. He's a man of few words, and he's fiercely independent. He'll always be there for you, namely, right behind you.
And my third one, this one is a little bit out of left field, but I'm going to stand by it. And it's Old One Eye.
Please go on.
Because he's always going to be there for you, no matter what happens. He'll take a las cannon to the face, and he's there. He comes back. He's coming back, guys. Don't worry about it. He's also a giant monster with huge crab claws and part of his skull showing. What's not to love?
Who wouldn't want a giant monster with giant crab claws?
Sexy. I like it, man. All right. So, like we said, I'm going to pick one of yours. You're going to pick one of mine. And we're going to give it to the people to vote on. So, who you got from my three?
Stonetooth Harker. Any man who can chew nails and crap hammers clearly is a handyman who can help me out around the house.
Oh, okay. And I'm actually going to go with Sly Marbo from yours. So, it's going to be kind of a Catachan showdown.
I mean, everyone knows the Catachan are the best lovers in the galaxy.
They certainly are. Nothing breeds good lovers like planet toxic masculinity. All right, guys. So if you want to make your voice known on 40K Sexiest Man Alive, email us at contact@40kbadcast.com with your vote and throw the word sexy in the subject so we know what's going on.
I mean, you were going to anyway, but throw that in there just for the help.
Yeah, we're gonna reveal the winner next episode in a couple of weeks. So let us know.
We're gonna move on to another semi-new segment. All right, so in our first episode, we talked about the books we were reading, and it wasn't really our classic 40K book club that we've done since, but we just, we wanted to just talk about what we're reading. And this is a new segment that I call Fulgrim's Book Nook. So recently, I decided to take it upon myself to read the Dawn of War trilogy by C.S. Koto. for those who don't know, this trilogy has been a punching bag for the community for like 12 years because they're generally regarded as being very poor books that have no respect for the setting or the canon or good writing or really any of the things you would learn if you were even an English major. I read the first book. I've only gotten through the first two of these because I'm not sure I can make it through a third. The first book is a pretty straightforward adaptation of the first Dawn of War game. It has some more framing devices, including Eldar yelling blood for the blood god at some point in the distant past, which doesn't make any sense.
Chaos
whatever.
Eldar, yeah.
Chaos Eldar, yeah, they're there. That's what Dark Eldar are, right? And except they go a little more into detail about this planet basically being like a blood planet. Like all the ground is like welled up with blood as the battles keep going on, even though not that many people actually die in the book. But the story is the same story as the game, which is, Space Marines land on the planet, Eldar, Orcs, Chaos are there, the typical hijinks ensue, and the Chaos runs off with a MacGuffin. And it's written reasonably well, despite a few scenes where, like, a Razorback is a Razorback at the start of a sentence, and at the end of a sentence, it's a Land Raider. And that which is fun. And every single character really likes riding on top of vehicles. What? Like, clearly CSGO to, like, all right, if you ever played, like, a game with a bunch of rhinos or whatever, and you're like, okay, this squad's in this one, this squad's in this one, and you put your sergeant on top of that, you probably walked into a game store and went, oh yeah, that makes sense, and decided to write that into his book. So there's
that's how that works.
Like, there's Eldar like surfing on top of their wave serpents and firing Reaper launchers and shit. It's so silly. I will say the one interesting thing is the main character, Gabriel Angelos, is written as having pretty severe PTSD, which is really rare for like a Space Marine character, especially because he exterminated his old homeworld. And he keeps like having flashbacks to it, and he passes out and has like fainting spells and stuff like that. And despite all that, no one's like, yeah, maybe he shouldn't be leading this expedition because he's unreliable and like prone to rage-filled fits and passing out. But whatever. And then of course the librarian gets possessed by a demon because that always fucking happens, and it happens really suddenly. Like his betrayal is not really well characterized. So later on, like the forward explains that CS Goto is like, yeah, I don't even think I did a good job characterizing why he decided to turn to chaos. So I wrote an extra short story to explain why that happens.
he fucking fact his own book.
Yeah, there's chapter approved 2005, which is actually an extra chapter about why this actually happened. And I'm like, it's admirable that he at least recognized his own failing as a writer, but also the fact that he had to write a short story just to kind of be like, oh, that's why that happened sucks. Also, the book's like 250 pages on the dot, which makes you think that was the minimum to actually like get the book out there. But as far as an adaptation of the game goes, it's serviceable. It's bolter porn. It's nothing that special. Now, that being said, Dawn of War Ascension is the sequel to it, and it just reads like a paycheck getting cashed. Also, 250 pages like to the dot. It starts with this boring ass Eldar court scene for like 2 chapters, which is not interesting. I skimmed the shit out of the Eldar chapters because just a lot of them like scheming and conniving about nothing really. And it weirdly mirrors some of the happenings of Dawn of War Winter Assault, namely that there's like this lurking underground threat of slumbering Necrons. Spoiler alert, whatever, it's 10 years old. But it doesn't follow that game's story or have the characters involved. Instead, it keeps name dropping the planet from Dawn of War Winter Assault, and they're going, yeah, I don't want to go there. Let's just go over to this other planet and dig for a while. Like, they mention it like every 3 chapters, like, there's some goings on at Lorne 5. They want the Blood Ravens to help. And they're like, nah, we're good. We'll go over when we feel like it.
We're good out here.
Instead, it's on the Blood Ravens recruitment world where there's an excavation going on. It turns out it used to be an Eldar world where they buried a bunch of Necrons. And it features this framing device of this guardsman from the first book who became best friends with the Terminator, becoming a Space Marine and going through the implantation process. Yeah, because, adults can do that.
That happens.
But it also leads to this chapter, like 2/3 of the way through the book, where there's a Blood Raven ship in space and the implantation chapter is in there. And he's like the one guy getting worked on. And there's a chaos incursion on the ship. And like demons start seeping out of the walls and shit like that. And these librarians have to guard the implantation chamber. Except you've never met any of these characters before this chapter. You never meet any of these characters in any later chapter. Chaos is not in this book whatsoever, and this is clearly just there to fill 15 to 18 pages so we could get to that 250 page mark and get paid.
Nice.
Then there's like a bunch of fighting on the planet with Eldar and Blood Ravens killing each other, while Gabriel Angelos, his librarian, who is basically the same character as the librarian from the first book, and a bunch of Eldar characters go on an adventure to find out what's up with the excavation, find out why things are so weird. And while they're adventuring together, their armies have no leaders, and they're just killing each other. So they have a truce between the leadership, and they just kind of let their men murder each other for no real reason. Ah, God, it's just, there's all these like huge plot holes that you can drive a Land Raider through. And then like the Necrons emerge and all this bad shit's going down. And they have this giant ship come out of the planet and take off. And they go on about how unkillable and big this is. And it says over like the course of one paragraph, they use the word impregnable twice on this spaceship. and then it goes like, and then the Blood Raven cruiser flew by and shot it once and it exploded at the end. And I'm like, oh, cool. And of course, like the captain of that Blood Raven ship is talking about he doesn't like fighting in space, and that Space Marines don't like fighting in space. What do you think the first word of Space Marine is? So the planet starts going to shit. Everyone escapes the planet off screen. Like it just goes like chapter 14, the planet's going to shit. Planet chapter 15, Gabriel Angelos and all the other guys were flying in space in their Thunderhawk. I'm like, what? How'd that happen? There's just no tension there. And there's all these like teases of things that just get dropped. Like, oh, they find this rune that says Jane Czar and the Silent Death and all this stuff. And then they just don't mention it again. Or like the stuff with, the scout and all that stuff being and the chaos incursion on the ship. Like they just don't do anything about it. And it has all these like bad hack lines in there. Like there's a scene where there's a Eldar tank floating around and a bunch of like tribal dudes with knives and sticks take down a wave serpent. And the Terminator character says, "Now that's how it's done," or something to that effect. It's bad in an almost fun way, but mostly just in a bad way. It's just really hacky writing, and I would not recommend reading it.
All right. I won't.
And if I spoiled it for you, I'm sorry. It's awful. I don't feel bad about spoiling things that are 12 years old and also bad.
Okay, so we've got to finish up with our global campaign, the first ever Badcast global campaign. Now, Campbell, last episode we talked about a nearly, and by nearly, I mean completely insurmountable lead that the Badcast Bad Boys had built up over the campaign, and it was looking pretty bleak for the 40k Fuckboys. Mm-hmm. But can you tell us, finally, who won?
I would like to formally announce the complete and utter takeover of the 40k Badcast by the Badcast Bad Boys. Over 5 rounds, the Fuckboys only managed to take round 3, in which the mission was to own yourself. The Fuckboys are only good at getting owned. Mind you, this last mission, which I loved this mission, we did get some pictures and reports sent in, including one from Craig Sniffen, and he included objective markers for all the objectives that they had to put down during that mission because every unit that died became an objective. To which I replied, putting all my chips in the Badcast Bad Boys, putting the 40k Fuckboys in the dumpster where they belong.
Oh, no.
Because Bad Boys took that one, too, with like 26 objective markers in total.
Well, if we're good at anything, it's being in the dumpster. Us Fuckboys.
Go back to crust punking. Thank you, everyone who sent games in. We loved hearing the battle reports, reading the battle reports, seeing the pictures, and a special shout out again to JD for sending us that awesome battle report in round 2 that he wrote in character for us.
Oh, yeah, that we read on the show.
Yeah, my only regret is with that one, I left out the nickname he gave you, which was Dan the Hemorrhoid Boyd.
That's me. Not a whole lot of things rhyme with Boyd.
Yeah, aside from like Lloyd.
Lloyd. If I have a kid, I'm gonna name him Lloyd.
Lloyd Boyd. That's
Boyd.
Like that's like Lance Vance. That's an awful name. Alliterative names are only worsened by rhyming names.
I disagree completely with that. I think Lance Vance is a great fucking name.
I think it's a great name if you're like an ace photographer for like the Daily Planet.
Okay, whatever. You know what?
It's a comic book name.
No, yeah, and comic book names are fucking great. Unfortunately for me, but fortunately for you, Campbell, the Badcast Bad Boys are in control of the podcast for the foreseeable future until next time we do a global campaign. Mm-hmm. And that sucks. But you know what doesn't suck?
What?
Fact or fan fiction.
You speak too soon.
Do you have something for me?
Lips met bleached white bone as he kissed the Eversour's mask. No. Desperate moans escaping his throat as he did so. The sniper gasped once he felt his partner's inhumanly strong hands slide down his back and grasp at his buttocks. Then again, as he was gently but inexorably turned around. No. Shaking with fear and desire, the sniper stared over his shoulder as the unnamed assassin roughly tore out the seat of his self-stoop, then ripped apart his own armored codpiece, and with such ease, to reveal his impressive manhood.
Oh, no.
The Eversor held the Vindicator's hips with surprising gentleness as he pressed his pride against the taller man's rear. Trembling with barely controlled power, the drug-fueled warrior pushed forward, softly at first, but with increasing urgency.
No.
A strangled yelp of mingled pain and relief leapt from 63's lips as he felt the other assassin penetrate him.
No.
Followed by short, moaning sobs as he was firmly pulled back onto the invading member.
Nope, we're done. Nope.
When the sniper was fully impaled, the Eversor began to fuck him in earnest.
I don't want to listen to this anymore. Ugh. Come the fuck on, man.
I didn't even get through a third of what I have here.
I don't want to. It's a little. It's a little much for me. Okay. Well, I know. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Campbell, but I don't think I have to think too hard of whether or not this one's fact or fan fiction. Clearly, because there's graphic sex involved. That's got to be fan fiction.
Yeah, it is 40,000 Dicks by 40,000 Dicks.
40,000.
So what I read is maybe a quarter of one page, and there are 4 pages.
Oh man,
this is
we'll include a link in the show notes for people.
We will. And you can
if you want to read it for yourself.
That information.
If you want to fill your head with that,
among other things.
All right. Well. Let's get out of here, man. We got a couple ways to contact us. You can contact at 40kbadcast.com. Vote for Sexiest Man Alive in 40k. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at DBSleazy. He's at Brother SRM. You can find Campbell. He's got a show on YouTube. It's called Cam Hammer, not Can Hammer. Not a Canadian podcast.
No maple in this show.
Cam Hammer.
YouTube.com/CamHammerShow to see all my videos. I have not made one in a little while. You can check me out on Tumblr, where I post pictures of all my models. Cam2d.tumblr.com. There should be a bunch of Empire dudes and Tech Marine and all sorts of stuff coming up real soon. I just haven't done any photography in a little bit.
And if you want to check out like rules and stuff for the global campaign that you were just curious about, if you didn't take part or you just want to remember all the fun times you had, you can go to 40kbadcast.com/campaign and check it out there.
Yeah, the missions are still there. They're still fun.
We'd love to hear from you guys. If you want to send us emails or pictures of your guys you're working on, or game results or battle reports or whatever the fuck else, just reach out to us and talk to us. We'll get back to you. We love talking with our listeners. But that's it for us, man. You have a nice, happy quote for me?
I do. If your life is given in service to the Emperor, your death shall not be in vain.
Thanks for listening, guys. See you next time.